Welcome to a truly special 4th of July, a celebration of America 250 and the freedom that binds us together. Now, every one of you who is here today braving the North Carolina heat is a patriot. Earlier today, we honored and were moved to participate in a naturalization ceremony where we welcomed 49 new Americans from 25 countries. Their enthusiastic embrace of our country and its ideals reminds us just how blessed we are to call this remarkable nation our home. Now, just around the corner of the Capitol, there's a statue of George Washington, the man who led our troops to victory in the Revolutionary War, the man who voluntarily left the presidency after 2 terms, the man who, in his farewell address, urged unity and patriotism, warning of the dangers of division. Our founders' place in history are worthy of our acclaim. After all, they proclaimed in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal, that God endowed us with rights that cannot be taken from us, and that we, the people, choose our government that exists to protect those rights. Of course, our young nation did not fully live up to those ideals. Over the past 250 years, generations of Americans have grabbed and carried forward the baton of freedom in pursuit of a more perfect union, one that fulfills our founding promises: freedom, equality, democracy. Many North Carolinians have run critical legs of that race. Months before the Declaration of Independence, a group of North Carolinians gathered in Halifax on April 12, 1776. It's right there on our state flag. Led by Cornelius Harnett of Wilmington, they had the audacity to believe that they could rule themselves and, to quote Thomas Paine, begin the world all over again. These patriots adopted the Halifax Resolves, making North Carolina the first state in the country to call for freedom from the crown, earning our proud state monitor, First in Freedom. These patriots risked everything on the simple belief that political power belongs to the people. In fact, Harnett gave his life for that principle. And the spark that they lit in Halifax helped illuminate a nation. Yet the light of liberty did not extend to millions of Americans held in slavery and many others. In 1852, Frederick Douglass called out the gross injustice and cruelty of slavery, but insisted that America's salvation from its original sin could be found within the promises within the Declaration of Independence. Douglass charged us to stand by those principles, be true to them on all occasions, in all places, against all foes, and at whatever cost. Wilmington native Abraham Galloway certainly stood by those principles. Galloway was born into slavery, but escaped by hiding on a northbound ship. During the Civil War, Galloway served as a Union spy, traveling throughout the Deep South, before returning to North Carolina to muster 3 units for the U.S. colored troops. In 1864, he walked through the front door of the White House and urged President Lincoln to support black men's right to vote. A few years later, as one of North Carolina's first black state senators, he helped to make that demand a reality. Galloway helped to ratify the 14th and 15th Amendments, advancing equal protection and due process and voting rights for black men. Galloway also advocated for women's right to vote. But once again, even as liberty's light shone on even more people, our nation still left some people in the shadows. So other patriots picked up the baton of freedom and carried it forward. Gertrude Wheel hailed from Goldsboro, the daughter of German Jewish immigrants who settled in North Carolina to build their lives. Wheel believed that the opportunities America had afforded her family should belong to more people, and she lived those values. She founded the North Carolina Equal Suffrage League, and thanks to her advocacy and that of so many women across the country, in 1920, our nation finally guaranteed women's right to vote. A few decades later, Henry Fry, a son of cotton and tobacco farmers, a child of Greensboro, a Korean War veteran, took up that baton of freedom. As a young man, he was turned away from the voting booth, denied the freedoms that he had fought for because of the color of his skin. Spurred by that injustice, he went to law school and became North Carolina's first elected black state representative in more than 80 years and the state's first black chief justice. Throughout his career, Fry helped to purge North Carolina law of Jim Crow. Henry Fry's story is remarkable, but it is not singular. Throughout our history, millions of Americans have had the boldness to believe that even when things were at their bleakest, they could make them better. They could turn the promises on paper into freedoms fulfilled. From the streets, from the courtrooms, from the ballot box, everyday Americans demanded that our country live up to the eternal promises that were made 250 years ago today, often at great personal cost to themselves. Patriots severed ties with the crown, forged a democracy, abolished slavery, secured women's political participation, dismantled Jim Crow, and delivered on the promise of a government of, by, and for the people, all of the people. For 250 years, generations of Americans have run an historic relay race, and that includes countless Tar Heels. Every time our nation faced a defining moment, North Carolinians reached out, grabbed the baton, and carried the cause of freedom further than where they found it. Now we have that same responsibility. Will we carry our freedom forward? Will we leave our democracy stronger than we found it? Here in North Carolina, we say yes. Cornelius Harnett, Abraham Galloway, Gertrude Wheel, Henry Fry all said yes, and so must we. I know that we will because here in North Carolina, we love our country. We love what our country stands for. And we love our fellow Americans. We are patriotic to our core. Whether it's service members putting their lives on the line to defend our freedoms, or teachers spending their own dollars to buy school supplies, whether it's farmers growing our food, or law enforcement officers keeping us safe, whether it's factory workers making our medicines, or public employees working hard to make our 4th of July joyful. North Carolina is home to patriots living out our American ideals, showing us how to step up for each other. That is democracy in its most essential form. Not something that we save for history books, but something that we live in our daily lives. And in our democracy, there is no challenge that we cannot overcome when we come together across our differences, when we treat our fellow Americans with respect and dignity, when we remember that freedom, justice, and opportunity bind us together as Americans, and when we appreciate our national motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, we are one. That's how we create a United States of America. Here in North Carolina, we are first in freedom, first public university, first in flight, and thanks to the Carolina Hurricanes, first in hockey. But being first in freedom isn't just about what happened 250 years ago. It's about what we choose to do today. And North Carolinians, let us choose to pick up that baton of freedom and keep moving forward. God bless North Carolina, and God bless the United States of America.